I'm Jo Kiminade and I'm talking to John Knorr, CEO and founder of the Uglii Corporation, and we're here in very humid Indonesia attending the World Mail and Express conference. John, what's your overall view of the conference?
From our point of view, Jo, it's been fantastic. We've been investing in mail conferences for a lot of years actually, just to get the postal industry acclimatised, I suppose is the right word, to thinking about Uglii as part of their future, and I think that we're seeing that strategy pay off very handsomely, and we've seen it at this conference in particular. The outcomes from our point of view have just been quite extraordinary, I think, and I'm absolutely thrilled with it.
So you've been going to sleep at night counting national partners rather than sheep?
Yes, that's right. I made a joke about that, and that's exactly what's been happening. So we've certainly got fantastic traction, and that's partly because of the quality of people that have been attending the conference, CEOs of postal industries, postal systems around the world, and they get the picture, and they understand our documents, and even though our documents are big 35, 40 page documents, they're reading them and understanding the economic and business implications of the Uglii system for their postal systems and the Uglii system for their economy. So right. It's a big ask to get senior executives and CEOs to read all of this sort of information, but they're doing it because once they get into it, they understand this is important. This is a game changer for not only their postal business, but also for their economy.
Right. Is the fact that it's an Asia Pacific conference, therefore a lot of the countries are a lower economic development, at a lower economic development stage, has that made a difference in regard to their interest in Uglii?
Just about every economy in Asia, perhaps apart from Singapore, has got some big differentiation in the socio-economic status of their people. So they realise that the system can help people catch up. I think that's very important. Yes. The other thing is that these guys are very technically sophisticated.
Right.
When they do their presentations, you've seen that they are well up with the rest of the world in terms
Certainly.
of their technologies and their innovations and their ability to embrace technology and be innovative.
Yeah. And in some cases in front of the rest of the world, perhaps they're a little more hungry or...
Yeah, a little bit. That could be true.
Certainly savvy.
They're certainly up with them, and I think the differentiation is that in Europe there's more competition. So because of the EU, the postal systems are competing. They've got more competition. So
sure.
I don't think the Asian ones are really up to that level of understanding or facing that high level of competition yet. But certainly technically they're well and truly up with the rest of the world.
Okay, and you've personally had meetings with 5 or 6 or more, I think, of these postal systems.
Yes. Yeah. Including some from Asia and some from Europe that have attended the conference too.
Sure.
So
and the feedback has been excellent, extraordinary.
It's been what we've hoped for and expected. Okay, so it's
right.
It hasn't surprised me. I'm obviously excited about it, but it's what we expected.
Right. And what you always thought would happen.
It's what I've always thought would happen, and but it also vindicates our strategy of providing a in-depth analysis of what our systems are going to do in those economies, and explaining the systems in depth.
Sure.
Uglii is an extremely sophisticated system, and people need to understand it before they embrace it. So
Sure.
That's what's happening, and I think our strategy is working perfectly.
And in that strategy, and them understanding that is part of that big document, 40-page document, which I assist in putting out, which is sometimes somewhat
pretty
painful.
hard work, yeah.
But I do have to admit, the people we spoke to had read the document, had understood the document, and wanted to know what the next step was. So that was very exciting to see our work.
Extremely exciting, yes.
Get good feedback.
Look, I've always been confident that our strategy of embracing postal systems would pay off.
Yes.
And as these organisations increase in sophistication because they're forced to diversify and become more engaged with their economies, then we'd fit into that
Sure.
that new arrangement with them.
And that strategy, that was initially directed by Harry Kuiperbosch, is that correct? That strategy
Yes,
for postal
yes.
systems.
Yeah, one of our earlier directors, Harry Kuiperbosch, unfortunately not with us these days. He had a terrible car accident and died. But Harry laid down the foundation for this strategy, and I've followed it fairly faithfully through this process and invested a lot of money in following that process, and I think it's paid off. It's really has paid off.
Right.
And, yeah, it's a bit sad that he's not here to see it, but
Yes.
yeah, it was the right strategy, it was the right vision,
Yes.
and yeah, it's very excited about it.
Now, you were invited to speak at the conference.
Yep.
What's your view and feedback been on what you spoke about? And
Well, I think I spoke all right.
You did.
Thank you. However, the foundations were made by the documents. All of the organisations we wanted to reach had their documents and had read their documents and had done interviews and discussions with us and workshopped with us. So they really knew what the system was about. So me getting up there and making a bit of a speech was really just window dressing. So I didn't really feel that I contributed that much to it. But yeah, it was successful. But the foundations were well and truly laid by actually you and your team. So
thank you, John. So, for the people that are interested in watching, what's the next step with where we're at with these postal systems at the moment?
Well, I think that we've got to fill in around the world. You know, we've got the foundations right. We've got a lot of the leading postal systems in the world coming on board and comfortable with coming on board and anxious to get on board. And we'll just fill in the gaps between those in a geographic sense, because our systems are powerful within economies. They're also incredibly powerful between economies to stimulate trade, stimulate investment. So our strategy has got to be to just fill in the gaps around those and between those leading postal systems around the world. And as you know, we've started that. So I think the processes are right. The strategies seem to be right. It's just a matter of getting the work done. So you get back to work.
All right, well, on that note, I think I better get back to work, get back to Australia where it's somewhat cooler. Thanks, John. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Joe.
Cheers.